All right, folks, I'm back. This part 3 of installing rear disc brakes on a 64 through 70 Mustang. So anyways, I got my master cylinder. You know, this is from the 04 to 1999 Mustangs. Here's a part number I got. MCA 390525. Also got some brake lines because I was checking out my brake lines. It looks like someone did already replace some of it. So I just bought excess because anyways, I'm gonna do it on a CUDA too. So basically, my Mustang is gonna be like the test mule for this 4-wheel disc brake because all my cars gonna have 4-wheel disc brake. I'm probably gonna follow the same concept I did on the Mustang, on the CUDA and the Charger. So just showing you the stuff that I got. Now we want to go ahead and disconnect the brake lines and disconnect the master cylinder so we can take the master cylinder out. And as you can see, my brake job lines, or they weren't pretty done well. As you can see, it's kind of messy, so I'm gonna try to clean it up. Now, as you do see, my original master cylinder, they have the lines facing the driver's side, which is cool, which I like. But the master cylinder I got now for the Mustang is now the ports are on the passenger side. So I was worrying about the heat, but I don't think it'd be such a big issue the way I'm gonna route it. But anyways, let's talk and let's get more working. So now I'm gonna take off the master cylinder and disconnect the brake lines. All right, folks, I got the master cylinder out. Now, one thing I do want to advise before you do start on both the master, you want to basically disconnect it from the rod inside. It's hard for me to show you when it's installed in the car. So basically, this is your brake switch. Goes over it like this. There's a little middle shaft that comes through the middle, and then this pin right here holds it. So just imagine there's a shaft in the middle with a slot that you slide this pin in. So first thing you want to do, take the pin out, disconnect your brake switch, and then basically slide this like forward, and it'll slide off the pin. So then once you unbolt it from here, you have no issues on basically taking out the master cylinder. So I got the master cylinder out. Next thing I'm gonna do is knock out the brackety, I guess you call this the rod for the brake cylinder. I'm gonna knock this out because I'm gonna reuse it in the new master cylinder. All right, more to come. All right, so as you can see, I got the lines out. I'm gonna be using the existing, I forgot what you call that. It's like a distribution block for the rear brakes. And what I did to the rear brakes, I made a plate so I could hold my line right here. And I'm using the existing bracket from the original. And I just put it underneath and tighten it. It ain't going nowhere. And also did the same on the passenger side. I made this little bracket right here. Welded it so the line could basically sit. It ain't going nowhere. I have to tighten it up. So that's why it kind of got some movement. I'm tightening it up. So now I'm going to start basically bending my lines to make sure everything goes into the distribution block. And also, I see that this line has the same original line that goes into, I guess, 69 Mustang distribution block. So I ain't even got to buy no extra flared nuts, if that's what you want to call it. So basically, I'm just going to route it in, bend it, and just hook all the lines up. And once I'm done, I'll show you that. More to come. All right, guys, as you can see, I'm here bending the brake lines. Got everything basically bended and fitted how I like. And I just gotta bang this tab down that holds it. But I just want to show you a trick. If you got like a flat blade screwdriver and you're trying to get like or even a pry bar, and you want to get the line a little bit more straight, don't be scared to just pry the line up a bit. I'm not saying going super Saiyan's type strength. Just pry it up a little bit, and it's gonna bend it without kinking the line. And that's basically what I do when I bend the line. I do have the tools, but sometimes it's hard to bend lines, so I'll use probably like an extension. Well, here's a socket, but you know the extension, same thing. And I'll use this, and I'll just use my hands and bend it like this. Put the brake line around it and bend it, because that's basically what the tool is doing. So that's just a little trick, but as you can see, show you the other side. All the brake lines have been basically bent to where it goes. I'm using my original distribution block, as I said in a prior video, but I just wanted to show you this. So now, like I said, all I gotta do is hammer this tab where my finger is, and you secure that brake line, and it's pretty close to the factory line. As you can see, here's the factory line for the rear. But yeah, basically done with the rear plumbing. Now start working on the front. All right, more to come. All right, so now I'm gonna start changing the brake lines I need. So I'm only gonna replace 3. So this one right here, the first one I'm going to replace is the brake line. You know, you need a 10mm brake wrench. Shazam. So I'm going to replace that. And that's the one that goes from the rear all the way up. So that's the first line I'm going to replace. I'm doing it one at a time so I just don't get confused, because these lines are bent up all crazy. So I ain't trying to get confused. So I'm just going to replace one line at a time so I know which line goes, basically. So once I finish it, more to come. And it's connected to my proportionary valve. All right, more to come later. All right, folks, so kind of a change of plans. As you can see, I used the existing line because there was plenty extra line. My hand's in the way. See, so I just flared it on right here. And one thing when you're doing these flares, make sure you don't forget to put the connector on. It has happened to me in the past, but I almost did it just now. But I remember, I'm like, oh shoot, I got a connector on. But I'm just using your old Advanced Auto Parts tool. I bought a flaring kit. Nothing's fancy or special. I think I paid $30 for this X amount of years ago, but it does the job. I did it right there with the line on. It came out a nice double flare. So yeah, but now I'm just gonna hook it up. See, it's nice right there. Hook it up to the back of my proportionary valve, and now I'm gonna work on this line. So, all right, more to come. All right, folks, so I got both the hard lines done, basically the hardest lines to me, because they were the most involved. So now all I gotta do is basically change the 2 front, basically the one that sends the fluid to the rear brakes. That's this line that's wiggling, and then this one's the one that sends it to both the fronts. So I just gotta change these 2, flare them, and bench bleed the master cylinder and bleed the brakes all 4 corners, and I should be back starting this thing and driving this thing and seeing how the 4-wheel disc brake, and seeing if I have to adjust the proportionary valve, see if I need to add pressure to the rear or release pressure from the rear. All right, so the next part should be when I'm done. All right, more to come. All right, folks, so this is part 3 of the rear disc brake swap from Vintage Raceworks. So I got the master cylinder, and I done switched up how I have the distribution block and my proportionary valve. It was mounted to the firewall. Well, not the firewall, the fender apron. So I basically put it in here, but I'm gonna make a bracket and bolt it back to the original spot using these studs too. But as you can see, every brake job, you got some leaks. So basically, it's basically done. And I mean, this one right here is leaking, so I'm probably gonna have to go either reflare it or change the fitting. I don't know why it's leaking. Like I said, no brake job is done without something leaking. And I basically got that one. I'm gonna change this fitting too, this brake fitting, because it's leaking also. And it's kind of stripped, so I'm just gonna put a new fitting on this top one. But like I said, overall, it's basically done. Just little, should I say, little nonsense or discrepancies, but nothing too serious. Everything else is dry. Just got like 2 leaky lines. The one up here in the front, right here, and then the one in the back. And also I ran a new line in the middle, so that one in the middle's leaking. I'm gonna change that fitting also. But overall, not bad. Job's not hard. Like, the hardest part really is if you're gonna basically redo brake lines. And bending brake lines sucks. And also I would recommend, if you're gonna do this, do it before you go to a hydraulic clutch, because the hydraulic clutch system, the slave cylinder right here, gets in the way. So I had to unbolt. That's why I unbolt my distribution block from it, so I can have access to it, easier to get the fittings. So trying to get this fitting, the bottom line fitting, is a pain in the... So before you go with the rear disc brake swap, or at least using this kit, I recommend doing it before you go with a hydraulic clutch, because you have so much more space. And I'm kind of cluttered in here. I got my hydraulic clutch there. I got my master cylinder for the hydraulic clutch. So I'm kind of cluttered over here. So That's why I recommend you installing the rear disc brake first, then install the hydraulic clutch, because it's going to be a pain. You ain't going to have much space. And like you see, I had to reroute everything, which is more accessible and easier to change brake lines if I have to in the future. But all right, more to come. Peace.